Parshas Noach, Tovshin Gimel. Again, we're in our fourth year of Shiurim. We were just discussing here now how many Shiurim we have up online. But whatever it is, it's somewhere between 120 and 150, I believe, which is, I don't know, Baruch Hashem. Quite amazing. As we said, now I have a little bit of competition with the, right now it's me and the radio behind the counter. The question is, who's going to be louder on the shir this week? But the pasuk says at the beginning of the parsha, actually at the onset of the Mabul, the pasuk says, "B'chodesh hasheni," in the second month, b'shiva asar yom l'chodesh, on the 17th day of the month, and then the Torah tells us what happened on that day. B'yom hazeh nivka'u kol mayanos tehoim rabba, v'arubois hashamayim niftachu. On that day, sort of the sky, everything opened up, the drains were open, the tehoim was open, everything went nuts, everything went bonkers. And the psukim continue. Vayihi hageshem ala oretz. The rain, it began to rain. Arboim yoim, varboim loyla. The geshem was on the oretz, arboim yoim, varboim loyla. And then another pasuk. V'hamayim gavru ma'oid ma'oid, vayigbaru hamayim ala oretz. From all these psukim that we just said, it's very interesting to see how all these psukim discuss the commencement of the Mabul, but none of the psukim mention HaKadosh Baruch Hu at all. It says the rain happened, the Tehoimos, everything opened up, the rain came down, it happened for 40 days. It seems like everything just happened, but no mention of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's as if everything that happened to Noach, everything that happened in Teva, everything that happened in the Mabul, it's as if it all happened on its own. And let's contrast that a second with what we're going to have in the Parsha in a couple of weeks. Let's contrast that with the destruction of Sodom v'Amorah. In the Psukim about Sodom v'Amorah, the Psukim say, V'Hashem himtir al Sodom v'al Amorah gofris v'eish. That the Pasuk clearly says, Hashem himtir, that Hashem made it rain down, or whatever it was that came down from Shemayim exactly, al Sodom v'Amorah, gofris v'eish. Another Pasuk by Sodom, Vayihi b'shaches Elokim es orei hakikar. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu did it. There, very clearly by Sodom, we see the Psukim keep mentioning HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That, of course, who is doing it? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was carrying the entire thing out. Why is it that by the Mabul, the Psukim do not mention HaKadosh Baruch Hu at all? And by Sodom, we see in every pasuk, Elikim, Hashem, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did the whole thing. So Nesivos Shalom says a very, very interesting and important yesod. He says, when people do things wrong in the world, and when things go wrong in the world, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes a time where HaKadosh Baruch Hu chas v'shalom has to punish people in the world, there's different types of einshim that Hashem meets out. Hashem gives out different types of punishments. The most severe punishment of all, Zok Nesivos Shalom, the most severe punishment is a punishment of Hashlacha, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells the person, Hashlacha, you know what? He tells the person, I'm not even going to do anything to you, but you know what? You're on your own. HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes away his hashgacha from the person and tells the person, I'm removing my hashgacha. You're on your own. That, Zok Nesivos Shalom, is the worst type of punishment that HaKadosh Baruch Hu can give a person. We see by David HaMelech. David HaMelech never asked HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please do not punish me. You look all around, David HaMelech doesn't say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please do not punish me. What does David HaMelech ask? Al tashlicheni milfanecha. Just not hashlacha. If you're going to punish me, it's one thing. But if you're going to tell me, David HaMelech, you're on your own, hashlacha, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I don't want anything to do with you, that is intolerable. That I can't take. And you see it by a father and a child. Most of the time, a child could somehow handle, Baruch Hashem, sometimes children get punished, but they get by it, they grow up, life goes on. Baruch Hashem, a child can most of the time handle the punishment of a parent. But if a parent would ever tell their child that I want nothing to do with you, and you're on your own, I have nothing to do with you anymore, that is the worst punishment. If we bring it down to a human level, that is the worst punishment that a parent could ever give a child. Zot in Nesivos Shalom, that is exactly what the Mabul was. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was punishing the hashchasa in the world with what? With the worst type of punishment. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I am taking away my hashgacha from the Bria. I'm taking away the way I watch over you, the way we do everything, the way we interact, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with people. That I'm taking away. And that is why, Zot in Nesivos Shalom, the name of Hashem is not mentioned in the psukim of the Mabul. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu was distancing himself, totally separating himself from that hashgacha. The pasuk says in Parshas Bechukoisai, Im Bechukoisai Telechu. If you follow the chukim of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the pasuk says afterwards, then v'nosati gishmeichem b'itam. Then I'm going to give you parnasa. I'm going to give you rain. I'm going to give you all the good things. That's what the pasuk says. The entire creation is set up with chukim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu set up the world that there are rules. There are rules of the sun. There are rules when the sun rises and when the sun goes down. There are rules of the moon. There are rules for the sand on the beach that it keeps the water from totally overrunning the dry land. There are rules. HaKadosh Baruch Hu set it up. There are rules for the Mayonas Tahaim, like we see from this week's Parsha. There are rules. HaKadosh Baruch Hu set it up that way. Bechukoisai tells us that if Klal Yisrael, im bechukoisai telechu, if you follow my rules, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, you follow the rules that I set up of Torah and Avodah and mitzvahs, the way I set up the world. And if Klal Yisrael keeps the Torah, then Hashem says, okay, fine. Then I'll keep my end of the deal. I'll keep the rules of nature. But if not, then it's batal. Everything is off the table. You don't follow my rules, then I take everything off the table. The laws of nature, everything goes crazy. The Tahaim opens up, the rain comes down, everything, nothing is stopped at the land, everything changes. It was so bad in the time of the Mabul that even the normal rules that a normal mind can comprehend, that the Goyim can comprehend, chamas, stealing, all these things, they broke all the rules. Therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, now the rules of nature had to be batal. Everything just got overrun. Hashem was saying now by the Mabul, the worst thing, the worst punishment, my hashgacha is stopping. You're now on your own. By Sedoim, even though there was taka hashchasa by Sedoim, like there was by the Mabul, but by Sedoim Zot in Nesivos Shalom, the hashchasa was localized. It wasn't the entire world. They were a bunch of bad people. They did a bunch of bad things in Sedoim, but it wasn't widespread. So there, by Sedoim, there was a punishment. They got punished, but no hashgacha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu still carried it out. The question, Nesivos Shalom says, you see from the pasuk says, by Sedoim, B'Hashem himtir al Sedoim. We know that Hashem is a lashon of Midas HaRachamim. Midas HaRachamim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu made it rain, storm down on Sedoim and turned over the entire city. There was nothing left. Rachamim, that's called Rachamim. Up in Nesivos Shalom, yes. Through the Gofris Va'esh that fell on Sedoim, we see Midas HaRachamim. What's the Midas HaRachamim? The Midas HaRachamim is because Hashem was involved. Hashem was doing it. Hashem was still involved in their lives. Really, the Nesivos Shalom says that what came down on Sedoim, it's interesting, he brings down that what came down on Sedoim, what Hashem sent down to Sedoim was Gishmei Bracha, because Ein Ra Yerid Min HaShamayim. Nothing bad. Whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu does, l'tav of it. Everything HaKadosh Baruch Hu is good. When it came down to Sedoim, and when it reached Sedoim, it was so bad, because they were bad, it changed to something bad. It was Rachamim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was involved. Just want to end with the Gemara. The Gemara says, in Masechta Erchin, Daf Tezayin Amud Beis, that a person has to worry if for 40 days go by and the person feels that he hasn't had any Yisurim or Agmas Nefesh. Person thinks life is peachy, life is great, everything's going great. If a person sees that in 40 days, nothing negative, and negative is different, it's all relative how we look at negative, but we see that no person doesn't have Agmas Nefesh. The Gemara says a person has to worry. And why do you have to be worried? You have to be worried that there's no hashgacha. You have to be worried that, you know what, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu might not be involved in your life. we say in the pasuk to Shivtecha umishantecha hema yenachamuni. It's in Mizmor David. We say that Shivtecha, your staff, hema yenachamuni. That is what was leading me. Actually, that gives me a nechama. That's hema yenachamuni. That's that pasuk. What happens when a shepherd uses a stick? A shepherd uses a stick and he beats an animal. It hurts. He's hurting the animal. But although it hurts, the sheep know that it's a good sign, that they're being led in the right way. And that's the way people have to think. The pasuk says, Hashem Elokecha imach. The pasuk says in Devarim, Hashem Elokecha imach, lo chosarta davar. Like we said over in Nesivos Shalom over there. Hashem Elokecha imach, even if sometimes you feel that something negative might be happening to you. But if Hashem Elokecha imach, you see that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with you, lo chosarta davar. Know that you're not missing anything. You know Hashem is with you. You could know in your mind, lo chosarta davar. Sometimes people feel something happened to me. I don't know. I just had a bad day, and this and that. If we remember this lesson, sometimes we remember to think that something negative may have happened to me. It didn't work out exactly the way I wanted it to. This person was bothering me a little bit. This didn't work. It wasn't exactly, everything didn't click today. But you know what? You think about it. Think about how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is leading you. You have the hashgacha of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Not everything works out the way you think it should be worked out. The way you think things have to end up doesn't always happen that way. But we're so lucky, how fortunate we are that we have the hashgacha of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So you have a little bit agbas nefesh. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is just, it's the accounting. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is making it all work out. He's making things just evening out the things. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is like your father. He's like your shepherd. He has to give you, sometimes he has to beat you with a stick. But you know what? You could be happy that the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the same person, the same Kaviyachal HaKadosh Baruch Hu hits you with the stick. He's the one that picks you up when you most need it, because he's your father. Let's remember that lesson and learn that we should not be like the people of the Mabel. We shouldn't be like the people of Sodom either. But we should know that how fortunate we are. And what the people of the Mabel were missing, they were missing the hashgacha of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And how fortunate we are to have HaKadosh Baruch Hu leading us. And let's let HaKadosh Baruch Hu decide what is best for us.